Are you wondering if there is any point starting a YouTube channel in 2023? Maybe you're wondering if it's possible for your channel to grow and find an audience. So there's a lot of talk about it being kind of impossible to start a YouTube channel and grow a YouTube channel. I mean, anyone can start a YouTube channel, but to grow a YouTube channel that is in a crowded niche, especially in 2003, not three. What year is this? Gosh, how old am I? 7? How old was I then? No, not 7. I was 17. Anyway, today's guest is kind of proving it wrong that you shouldn't start an art channel. This is such a good intro. Isn't it beautiful when you spend like a month and a half away from YouTube and then you just do a live stream with your big brother, who's one of the greatest people in the world? So my big brother Dylan has a channel that has a really engaged and steadily growing audience, and he's recently reached the criteria for the YouTube partner program. So let me know in the comments if you are here from Dylan's channel, and if you've got a YouTube channel of your own, have you reached the YouTube partner program criteria? Because if you have, you'll know that that's absolutely no small feat. So today, Dylan's going to be sharing with us how he's doing what he's doing, including the ups and the downs. And I'm sure a lot of this info is going to be super helpful for anyone who's getting started on their YouTube journey. So please welcome to the stage my big brother and dear friend, Dylan Sara.
Hello, Claire, Sara, my dear sister. Hello, everyone on YouTube. It's an honor and pleasure to be here. It's always fun hanging out with Claire.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I recently was literally a week ago, I was on a plane coming back from hanging out with Dylan, and it was the worst. Leaving was the worst. Being there was the best. Leaving was the worst. But yeah, it was so wonderful to get to spend some time. So I thought my first live stream back after being away for like a month and a half, I thought, who more perfect to do it with than you? And it's so amazing what you have been doing on your YouTube channel, and it's such an inspiration. So I'm so stoked that you're here and that we get to chat and be really nerdy about this cool thing.
Yeah, it's really cool. Thank you for inviting me. It's nice to be back. Because I was here. It was about a year ago, I think.
Yeah.
Was one of your live streams, and a lot has happened since then.
Yeah.
In the world and
There's
on
so
my
much.
channel.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about. Dylan was my very first guest on this show, which is, yeah, how cool. How cool to have you back. And I actually watched the interview that we did yesterday, and it was
Oh, cool.
so amazing to watch, just knowing how much your channel has evolved and grown since then. Let me know actually in the comments if you were there. I know for that first live stream, I know that Shannon was there. Shannon's here. So nice to have you all here, Shannon. And so nice to have you here, the Creator Classroom. Isn't it like 5 a.m. where you people are? Because that is serious dedication. That's amazing. It's awesome to have you here, Marcus. I just missed you in Europe. What a bummer. I think you're Switzerland. You're in Switzerland? I think so. And Marianne, so wonderful to have you all here. Oh, amazing.
Hi
Bloody
everyone.
beautiful. Hi, everyone. And we also have YouTube Creator Community channel here. Hello, other
Oh,
human. Nice to have you here. Awesome. So, for people who are just kind of encountering you for the first time, Dylan, could you let everyone know what your channel is about?
for sure. I am a portrait painter, and I really enjoy sketching with people, and I my channel is about sharing the experience of drawing together, and there are a few different things that I do on there, and two really important things, two different live stream shows. One is with Shannon, who's here in the chat, my dear friend Shannon. We do Drawn Together, which is a podcast, draw along, interview, conversation show, which is super fun, and it's a format which is so great. Shannon, I had this idea of doing like an interview show with people for a while and just didn't really do it. And then Shannon was like, "Hey, should we do it together?" And I was like, "Yes." That was like the push that I needed to make it a thing instead of an idea, to do it together with Shannon. So that was really wonderful. Thank you so much, Shannon. And so far we've had 20 episodes where we have a live guest, and as we talk to them, we draw them and people draw along. And another one is these draw along sessions where it's me and whoever's watching, and I also open my Zoom room. So it's really it's a lot about the community and about drawing together. And yeah, I've been doing really working it with the live streams, just by what you were showing, all these 10-minute portrait live streams, and it's about practicing together. And I know there's a lot of art education out there, and there's really wonderful channels that exist and channels that I have learned from on my. And for me, like a big part of getting better at drawing is drawing, and you need to put in a lot of practice. You can be told what to do and get some tips, but it's at some point, once you've got the basics, fundamentals, even right at the beginning, it really quickly, it's about just doing lots and lots of drawing. And the human face is quite a challenging and rewarding subject, and something which I find endlessly interesting. And then having the opportunity to draw together is what that's what I've made my channel mostly about. I also have some process videos, and I make natural inks, and I have some videos of them up as well. And they're kind of like a peripheral part where people are like, "Oh, what's this ink?" And I'm like, "Oh, check out this video," and I will like link people, or like I make my own pens as well, art supplies. So here I have a pen that I made from an elder branch. And people are like, "Oh, I really like that," and then I can send them a link to the video where I make this pen. But the main thing, I feel like the driving force of it has become the live streams and the community aspect of doing it together. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so amazing. And I didn't realize until I rewatched our interview that you've been doing that for less than a year, because when we did the interview, your entire strategy at that point was YouTube Shorts. And I remember you were saying about how like the reason you were doing it that way was because it didn't require like any extra effort from you.
Yeah.
And I think that's super interesting. I had someone send in a question who has just started an art channel, and I would really encourage everyone who's watching, if you have any questions for Dylan about how he's doing what he's doing, please put them in the chat or in the comments. Yeah, but so this is really interesting. So Sara or Sarah has just started a channel and has just created their first video, and it's
Oh,
so
cool.
awesome to. I can't wait to watch it. So please share it with us
Yeah.
when you've uploaded
Have a
it, Sarah.
link in the chat? Ah, okay. It's
No,
not uploaded yet. That's
it's
exciting.
not uploaded yet. Yeah, so it's super exciting. Sarah has said that they are in overthinking mode at the moment, and it's like, just do it, just get it up. It's so awesome. Who cares? It's going to be awesome, whatever it is. So, they have said, I'm a paper artist, and as with most art styles, it's extremely time consuming. How can I commit to posting regularly when each project takes different lengths of time? And I know that you have a very different art form, but one thing that I find so interesting about what you're doing is you have really found a way of. I've seen firsthand now just how busy your life is. Um, so yeah, it would be awesome if you could share, like, I guess a bit about that, like how you're
Mhm.
managing your time and how you're managing, like, and I think you do an average of like 2 videos a week. Um, so yeah, how did you land on that? How did you arrive at live streaming being the thing?
Yeah. I had in 2020, I was live streaming on someone else's channel for a while, and I was doing it every Sunday, I think, for maybe even like half a year, and I really enjoyed it. and it was promoting a course which I was offering, and then it stopped, and then it was kind of on the back burner in my mind. Like, that was a really fun thing. It would actually make sense and be good to do that more. And then you got me onto YouTube, like, because at that point I was streaming on someone else's channel, and but on Instagram I was doing my own stuff. And my whole content creation strategy also on Instagram was like, it's something I need to be doing anyway. And the best way to get better at drawing portraits is by drawing portraits. So I would be participating in challenges and also teaching in classes where there'd be like a daily portrait challenge. And then I would, I wanted to put minimal time into editing, because it takes such a long time. And
Mhm.
I realized that because of that, so I would film time lapses of my process and upload the time lapse. And it's super convenient because in the phone settings, it automatically compresses it, and then you have like a 30-second video at the end which you can upload. And then kind of keeping an eye on the trends and like what things, at some point it's like, oh, 15 seconds is better, and then it's like, oh, a 7-second video is better. So my editing would basically be compressing that video even further, maybe putting a brief voiceover just saying what I was doing. But sometimes I would just do it with music, and that was really great, because I would just, something I was doing anyway, I recorded the process of it, and then would upload that with some music and a little comment caption. And then for a while, I was doing that on every channel, like every platform. So I would have my Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, and I'll upload the same video to each of those. So it was something I was doing anyway with minimal editing, and I was able to use it across platforms. So that was, I think, there's still time that goes into it, even though it's
Hmm.
like minimal editing. There's it's still quite time intensive. And then I notice, I think, who knows how these algorithms work, but I notice it compared to other people who did really clever editing and stuff, I felt like my videos weren't getting seen as much. But it was clear to me I can't put the time in to have all these cuts and different transitions and stuff to make it like super funky, because I've got to drop my kids off at school, and then I've got to come, and I've got a bit of time to work, and then I want to upload something, and then I've got to go pick them up. I've got to make lunch in that time as well, and do the washing. So I was like, I just accepted the fact I can't do that style of video editing, which is
Hmm.
super fun and engaging. And that's the stuff that does really well. But it's like, I'm just going to do what I do and not expect viral videos, but I'm just going to do it. And I know that um, I have built up a community over the years, and I've been Instagramming for a long time. And I also offer weekly live sketch sessions, and that's been happening for over 3 years now. And every week, people come to draw together, and it's at least 20 people who are there every week. And it was like, even if I'm just serving those 20 people by sharing my content, I know that they're really interested. Or even if it's for mum, because mum loves seeing my stuff, and mum lives pretty far away. That I'm doing it for them. And so that was the thing with the shorts and the short form content, the time lapses of just showing my process. And I remember being mystified by watching people's process. The first time I saw art time lapses when I was still really learning to draw, I was like, wow, because you just see it all so fast, the breakdown of like the process, how you go from a blank page to a finished image. And so for me, that was really inspiring and mystifying, or demystifying, in the early days. So that was my focus for a long time. And then the Zoom sessions that I do, which are only live, they're not time lapse. They're not live streams. They're not recorded. It's a live only session, and it's a really wonderful community. And I thought, if I could do something like that, which is providing the opportunity for people to draw rather than just showing them how I draw, that that is something which I really enjoy. And the live stream format doesn't require editing, or it does require preparation. Particularly in February, I did a month of musician portraits, one a day, 10-minute portraits. And so I would be reading up on them, listening to the music. I'd be doing some planning. So that also became quite involved. But then once that happens, the camera's on my desk, and I do this 10-minute portrait. And then once I hit end live, the video is up. It doesn't need editing. And so that was a really streamlined thing, which became super important, because I did do some videos where I edited it, I put all this effort into it, and then I got really behind in what I thought was my own schedule. It's like, oh, if I'm supposed to have a video a week, but I don't have the time to edit. Like, even if it takes me 10 minutes to do a drawing, it's like, that doesn't take long. But then it'd be like, okay, and then I spend a couple of hours trying to make a video out of that drawing.
Yeah.
So that just didn't fit in with what I was doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
wonder if Sara or Sarah is watching. Let us know if you're here live. Otherwise, I know you said you were going to watch the replay. If not, but yeah, I think it's such an interesting thing with art and what you're doing, and like, because people do enjoy following along with you as you're doing it. So I don't really totally understand exactly what a paper artist is. So I'm really looking forward to watching your first video. Um, but like I know, like, editing videos and I know that you're in Video Ranking Academy, which is so awesome. It's such a good course. But I think sometimes people get really hung up on the fact that, oh, I have to do it a certain way. And there's actually so many ways to do YouTube. And like, if it doesn't fit in, and Sarah has said that they're worried about, like, how am I going to be able to commit to posting regularly? Because yeah, weekly videos is really helpful for channel growth. But I could spend 10 hours editing a 10-minute video, or I could do one live stream and then it's just done. And like, yeah, maybe it starts off really slow. Maybe you don't have many people there or any people there, but I just think it's such a powerful, powerful thing
yeah,
to be able to put content out, particularly when it's something like art that people can follow along and watch your process. And, how did you go with live streaming in the beginning? Because I know it's like a really it can be a really nerve-wracking thing for people. I was nervous, like, at the start of this. That's why I
yeah,
stumbled over my words, but, like,
yeah.
I
I
a bit out of practice, but yeah.
Yeah, I used to. I would be for a long time. I would be really busy. My mind would be occupied with the live streaming, and like now it's become a lot more natural. I just kind of. I still need to prepare, and sometimes I'll like sing a mantra to get me into the space of getting ready and having it happen. And I used to dream of my live events every night before I did a live one. I'd be like dreaming about the people that were there, and it was like dreaming, like it felt like in the dream I was at a party, and all these people that I had to like kind of be aware of and entertain or whatever. And so it was very present in my conscious and subconscious. And Kira used to say, like, whenever I had a live stream in the evening, all day, she would notice that I'd be kind of like busy with it. So, and it was interesting because in some of the earlier ones I did, I feel like some of the worst drawings and pieces I've done in the past years, I've done on live streams, where I'm kind of just into it and I'm talking and I'm responding to questions and stuff. And then at some point I look at my drawing and I'm like, oh, what am I doing? But it's funny because sometimes on those live streams, like it's been a really engaged conversation, like with the chat, or when we've had a guest on drawn together, that I feel like, oh, the conversation's so good. And sometimes we're like, what have I done on the paper? So it's an interesting question of focus and like how prepared you are. Just like, and that sense of being prepared is like an internal thing. It's not even like, okay, I've got my camera on, I've got the microphone, I've got the paper, I've got my supplies. It's just kind of like mentally, like in a really kind of embodied way, how prepared are you for it? And the
Mm.
practice doing so many live streams now, it comes much easier to me than it used to. I don't dream about it the night before.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so it definitely took like I enjoyed it all the way. And once the camera's on and it's happening, it's nice if there are some people there that to kind of bounce off the comments in the chat. I'm just looking over at the chat now, and it's nice to see, oh, there are people here.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
And then it becomes really conversational, because in the beginning, I feel more so when you're recording videos and it's just like, hello, my name is Dylan, and today I'm going to do a drawing of this thing. Draw along with me, and it feels like it's perhaps not as conversational, but when you've got someone to actually bounce off of, whether it's in the chat or it's
Mm.
like a live stream where you've got a guest, that conversational element makes it feel much more natural and alive, which I think is a wonderful thing. And even if you're doing pre-recorded videos, for me, it helped a lot to think I'm in a conversation with someone, even though there's no one there and I'm just staring at this piece of glass in front of me.
Yeah.
To just imagine this is a conversation. I'm sharing something with someone. Yeah, that's kind of been my approach
Mm.
for that.
Yeah. I think it's yeah, oh, it's such an interesting thing, the just how much more connected I personally feel with the audience when you get to see who they are. Like, it's so I was so excited to see The Adventures of Poppy and Neville
Hi.
here. It's so good. It's a different time of day, which I assume is much, much better for you in your part
Yeah,
of the world. And, seeing the creator classroom here, it's so nice. And I don't know if it was like pre-recorded videos, recording and editing, it definitely has its place. And like, I had a coaching with someone earlier in the year who was talking about how, like, even a really big YouTube channel has a hard time getting an audience for a live stream, like a big audience, and growing an audience for a live stream. And it's totally amazing having the amount of people in here that are here at like totally different time of day, and it's so nice. But he said that it is a hard way to grow, but it is a really, really, really good thing for feeling of community and connection. And I think, like, I'm definitely the same as you in that way, Dylan. Like, what's the point if you're not, like, connecting with other humans? Like, the
yeah,
whole
yeah,
point of this, what I'm doing on this channel, is to learn from YouTubers, because I don't know what's going on. Like, it's so good learning learning from so many different people from so many different walks of life, like what they're doing and how it's going for them, and what's been what's been awesome for them. And it also, I have a history of being a performer, and to me, this is like, it feels so much like being live on stage. It's pretty unbelievable.
yeah.
That
Like,
real connection. And yeah, Marcus also does a lot of live streams, and says it's all about connecting. And the creator classroom, who also does a lot of live streams, says it's an authentic way to grow.
yeah,
Shannon says it's so nice when the conversation gets into the drawing and in drawn together, and then we know everyone is drawing too, so it becomes relaxing to draw live. Yeah, it's
yeah,
so good.
yeah. And that's interesting, because we know even if the chat's not very active, it's like, oh, there are 20 people watching, but no one's like busy in the chat, and we can presume it's because they're focused. They're sitting,
Mm,
drawing, they're listening, so they're engaged because they're listening to the conversation, they're enjoying the conversation. And then it's fun because Instagram is like this peripheral part. Well, I don't know, it's not peripheral. Like, both of it is equally valid. It's like the format where the conversation takes place is on YouTube, and then people are sharing their work on Instagram. So when people have been drawing along, that's really interesting. We're like, oh, maybe the chat wasn't very busy, but it's like, oh wow, look at all these drawings people are posting. So
yeah.
it lives beyond YouTube. And something really interesting about the switch to live streams as the content creation strategy is because of how natural and conversational it is, or you get into the flow of it. Um, it's interesting. I feel like it's something that I'm going to do is like all of these live streams can be edited down, and you can take like, because sometimes it can be like a 3 hour conversation, and there are phases where it's kind of like maybe it's waning a bit, but then it gets focused because there's a new. It's just like a real conversation because it is,
Mm.
and then there might be something, and it's like be like now we're talking about. Like with Camilo a couple of weeks ago talking about Batman, and it was just like really interesting, and it's like that could be cut down into like a short form content, and then it doesn't have to be planned, it just needs to be cut out of the pre-existing material, and that's something that I will be doing, and I think that's going to help a lot because the people that are there live, it's really awesome. I think when people are coming afterwards and they're like, this is a 2 hour video, I'm just going to watch something else. Like, I think that's intimidating if you're looking for new viewers and they're like, 2 hours, what is this? But then you have this, it's like an unpolished gem where you can take pieces out of it, and then you can create your shorter videos, which can lead back towards participating with the longer ones. Because like a well planned out video, which is instructional and sharing something interesting, is really wonderful. But being able to go with the flow of a live conversation and then take pieces out of that to make new content, I think is a really clever way to be able to repurpose and streamline what you're doing. Because that was the thing along the way, to be like, how can this fit into life? And there are different times where there's maybe more time to work on it and not, but there's like all of this material there waiting to be repurposed and reused. I think that there's like it's such amazing opportunity for the potential, and whether if it's paper art, which I'm thinking maybe it's making paper or collaging or whatever it is, it would be really interesting to. It needs a bit of a technical setup, but to be able to live stream some of the process, or maybe even showing some examples of the work in a live stream, and then to like get in touch with family and friends, be like, could you jump on and be part of the audience? Like, you can actually actively ask people to get on and chat, and then you can just think of a way to showcase what's being done. And this is for any kind of channel, any content, like to show this is kind of the thing that I do. And then maybe there'll be something that you can take out of that and make into another video, which I think it's a really interesting potential, rather than getting stuck for like, what can I make, to be like, there's always something happening, and having the conversation be part of it keeps it always really alive and interesting.
Yeah. And I think it's like it's not necessarily to say that like everyone should be live streaming, because some people are not going to want to,
Yeah.
like, for some people it is so it can be really, really intimidating, but I think it's just about working out like what is right for you, because a lot of people are like, I have to do a video a week, or some people like, I'm doing 3 videos a week, and I'm like, how do you have the time to do that? Like, I don't know. So it's about like working out, how much time do I actually have, and how can I use that in the most effective way? And so for some people, it's live streaming. And for me, then when I have more time, I can take sections from the live streams and cut them down into shorter videos. And that is awesome to be able to do, because I know Sean Cannell talks about how like a live stream, like expecting someone or hoping that someone will go on, like come on a live stream, watch a two, this isn't going to be 2 hours by the way, but like expecting people to watch a 2 or 3 hour video is kind of like saying to someone like, hey, do you want to go on a date with me, it being your first date, and saying, let's go on a holiday for 2 weeks. It's like, that's not like, that's too much. And there will be some people that'll be like, whoa, what a romantic gesture. Yeah, let's do it. But like most people probably going to prefer like a coffee and then maybe
Yeah.
a dinner.
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, it's really interesting. So it's good to be able to have stuff that's long on your channel, but then also have stuff that's short and more um yeah, the creator classroom says it is a big ask. It's a commitment. So yeah, making sure you got stuff on your channel that is good for an introduction, like, but then also it's so nice having these long chats, and um, it's an opportunity for the audience to go a lot deeper with you as well. But it's just about finding what's right for your life, because
Mm.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and
that's what
then
I reckon about that.
yeah, and I think another thing is whatever you're doing, and however many people are there. Like if one person joins your live stream and it's someone you asked to come, like that still, that can be really beautiful uh, moment that you share, like something really intimate that you're sharing. Because when we put effort into creating things and put it out there, and like, oh, why are there only this many people? Like you feel like you're investing such a big part of it, and it can be caught up with all sorts of things. It's like because I guess there is the desire to grow and to have things succeed, um, but just yeah, if there's one person in your live stream, maybe it is like that first date, and you can be just like, oh, so nice that someone's actually here hanging out, interested in what I'm doing, and
Yeah,
yeah, and just to be doing it like for you and for the people that you are serving and that you are there for, and to be in the moment and be present with what you're doing, whether it's long or short form, but to be enjoying the process, I think is um, something that's going to make it uh, enjoyable and bearable when it's hard, to be like, oh, but
yeah,
this is really fun, even though there's two people watching.
yeah,
um,
yeah. How long so you were recently monetized, your channel was recently
mhm,
monetized,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
totally amazing. For anyone who doesn't know, the YouTube Partner Program has a couple of requirements. One of them is to have 1,000 subscribers. The other requirement is 4,000 watch hours. And I watched a video recently, someone was saying that that's like watching your favorite Disney video on repeat for 7 years or something.
That's a
So,
lot.
like, it's a lot. It's a lot. So, would you say that live streaming has contributed
Totally.
to yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be monetized without live streaming, and that was really interesting to notice because I was doing videos where I would edit, and it was really time consuming. And then you put this video out there, and then it gets like watched for, I don't know, 1 hour. Like the watch
Mhm.
hours, it's like, oh, this video has been watched for like just over an hour. That's going to take me a
Mm,
long time to get to 4,000 watch hours.
yeah.
Um, and then so all of the edited pre-recorded videos I did, they didn't add up to much. And shorts is a very confusing. Like sometimes I would get like 1,500 views on a short, but watch time, that's only just like, I don't know, if it's a super short thing, it's just like a couple minutes. So and
Mm.
I don't know if they even count to the watch hours for getting monetized.
Yeah,
um
it's very confusing. Some people say it does, some people say it doesn't. I don't bloody know.
because something happened that when I did reach 4,000, I had this thing on the YouTube dashboard, which is the behind the scenes where you can see all of your analytics and stuff. And it's like, congratulations, you've just reached 5,000 watch hours. I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, oh, maybe that means 1,000 watch hours of shorts and 4,000 of everything else. Um, and yeah, so the live stream thing, I was listening to Pat Flynn's Superfans book, and he said about doing a challenge for your super fans, because once you have some people interested, and so it could be So it's interesting whether you already have a following or not. Like, who can you get on board? Who can you get to participate? And I've been working at it for years, social media stuff. So I had some people that when I was like, oh, there are often challenges. There's Inktober, there's 30 Faces, 30 Days. There are so many things where people are like, hey, let's draw a portrait a day, or let's do a landscape a day, or let's do this weekly thing. And then I was like, I'm drawing every day anyway. I could do, rather than participating, and I've been a teacher in daily challenges invited by other people, and it's like, I could do my own thing where we do a face every day. And then it was a big commitment. But there I really noticed the people that come, and it was like a low level ask. It was like, if you come along, it's just 10 minutes of your day.
Mm,
And but then I did it every day, and there were a bunch of people who were there every time, and there'd be some chatting before and after. Then it's like 15 minutes, and then at the end of the month, I really saw like, oh wow, that lifted my view time more than anything else I've done, more than like
mm,
highly edited, informative videos, and so that really, um, yeah, live streams has done it a lot. And the Saturday live streams where I do like, we're going to do 10-minute portraits, and people sit down and they get into this rhythm of like doing portrait after portrait after portrait. And they have been some of my best viewed things. And so that helped a lot. And Drawn Together is a really wonderful, awesome show. And we have some people who really enjoy coming to watch that. And I feel like it's not growing super fast, but the people who do come, they have like this genuine experience. And we all do, like hearing what the guest has to say. And so there's this, like I realize that there are already a lot of people teaching art, and what I'm doing is not really about teaching art. It's about providing the space. Like, I can also talk about my process and what I'm doing, but it's that thing about doing it together. It was like, when people come to watch a live stream, they're often going to watch it to the end.
mm,
So even though it's a relatively small audience,
mm.
they're there for it.
Yeah,
Um,
particularly, something like yours, and I think it's really important for people to to hear, like, if you have something like what you're doing, something that people can do together. Because one of the reasons people stay and watch the whole time, well, not even watch, but they're there the whole time hanging out with you, is because they're doing something. Like, you're giving people something to do, and you're giving people a feeling of community, and,
yeah,
like, everyone, I think most people want to feel like they're a part of something and want to feel like they're part of a community. And, like, it's so nice because the idea for me of ever going to, like, an art class in person where people are watching and seeing what I'm doing is like, no, too scary. But,
yeah.
like, sometimes I'll sit and draw along with you and no one will ever see what I've been doing. Actually, I've got some of my I've got some of my portraits over here.
Cool.
I've
Yeah,
got
and interestingly, on Saturday, I had someone who was really active in the chat who was not drawing along. And they're like, oh, I'm painting my own thing, but it's really cool watching what you're doing and listening. And so sometimes people are there and they're not actually following along, but they're just enjoying having a voice in the
yeah.
room. And that's really interesting as well, that it's quite a specific niche where it's like, these are people who draw and they want to draw faces, which can be pretty intimidating, and they want to do it in a time limit, because often, or at least my experience before doing this and learning was like, and before having kids, I'd have spent a whole day drawing, and it's like, and it was this big process. And now part of it is because of having kids as well. It's like, okay, I don't have a lot of time. I just got to get to it. And so the time limit thing, faces, and drawing, that's like 3 criteria that make it pretty specialized. But then it's interesting that maybe there are people there, like I talked to some people a couple of weekends ago, and they're like, oh yeah, I watch your videos. I don't draw with you, but it's just nice hearing you talk. And so maybe there are even, like, we put it out there and we don't
Yeah.
even know. We don't know who's going to be consuming, participating in whatever way they
Mm.
are. A lot of people who
Well,
draw
I'm
along maybe will
normally
never show their work. Yeah.
I'm
Have you got an
normally,
example?
walking dogs while I'm listening to your conversations, and it's so
Yeah,
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, I do. I've got an example, and yeah, it's good. I'll full screen myself, but we should still be able to hear you,
Yeah.
Dylan, just 'cause people
Yeah, I
should
wanna see
really
it.
see this.
I wanna see it really
It's very
big.
special. There's
Oh,
one.
that's so good. I love it.
That's
That's
a
awesome.
30-second. That's a 30-second one.
That's nice.
See, tell
That's
me if you
me.
know
I see the
who these
likeness.
people are. Can you see it?
Um, one's dad, maybe with the hand on the head. The one with the
Oh, I think that is Dad. Um,
um,
they're pretty amazing.
they're very good. I'm not sure
Um,
I know who they all are, but
yeah,
and that
there's some
they're
but
like the
yeah, you
beard
don't
and the voice, says the Creator Classroom.
Yes,
It's about the
absolutely.
beard.
It's
Beard
it's
ASMR.
good. Oh, no, I've said something to Siri. No, Siri, I don't go away, Siri. How can someone in the chat please tell me how to turn Siri off? 'Cause that's not helpful. What were you
Oh,
just
Peggy.
saying,
Was
Dylan?
it Peggy? It could have been Peggy. Um,
Yeah.
and the great thing, like, I love seeing your drawings, and anyone who's drawn along, they're like, they're present, they're focused, and it doesn't need to look like the person. Like, it's not about creating a polished, finished work of art. It's about being there and practicing and having a good time together. And so whatever people are producing, and I know that sometimes they have these moments where it's like,
Mm,
"Oh, this really clicked for
and
me
getting out of your
today," or
head.
"This was good." Yeah, yeah, because it's the time limit's also kind of forcing that people are like, "Oh, I can't think too much. I just got to start drawing," and that's often perhaps an experience
Mm,
that people don't have on the daily. That they really just they're forced to be present with their pencil on the paper. Yeah, so it's interesting to think, what is it that you're creating, and how does it serve people? Why is it going to be of interest for people to do it? And the community thing and providing a space for people to practice something has been a really big thing for me and the growth of my
mm.
channel, I guess.
Nina, are you present right now in the homestead? And if you are, can you please turn off your device? Because I think there's a bit of lag happening on my end because I've got the thing saying the connection is unstable. If you are there,
Okay.
Nina, and you are present and watching, please stop.
Thank you, but please stop.
Thank you, I appreciate it. But
Nina
can
says, I
you
sure
connect?
am.
Can you connect to your own Wi-Fi and not the house Wi-Fi, please? Thank you very much. Live streaming. And actually this is a really important thing to note on this idea of getting out of your head, and is something that I think live streaming has really helped me a lot with, is like, it's not perfect. And I see so much in, like, for people who are in Video Ranking Academy, I see so much of people struggling with perfectionism, and something I've struggled with a lot. And like in other Facebook groups and stuff, people talk about that a lot. And with live streaming, it's so cool because it's just not going to be perfect. So it
Mm,
helps you get over it. And like when you're doing a 30-second sketch or a 4-minute sketch or a 6-minute sketch or whatever it is, it's not going to be perfect. So you just have to get over it and, you know, and enjoy it. Just enjoy the process. And,
yeah.
before we started, it was like, what we were worried about something messing up with something technical. And it was like, well, if that happens, then we'll just fix it when it happens, which we did. Oh, the Creator Classroom has just said, Nina listened. That's great. Thank you,
Thanks,
Nina.
Nina.
You're the best. Yeah, awesome. Hello, Eagle VP. Thank you so much for being here. Awesome to have you here. Yeah. Oh, it's so awesome chatting with you, Dylan. I love you so much.
I love
Dylan's
you
my
too.
brother, anyone who doesn't know that. Um, why
It's
aren't our
good.
names displayed on the screen?
Oh, I don't know.
That's interesting.
That's your part of the thing.
Anyway,
Yeah, and that thing
yeah.
with imperfection in our live streams, especially drawn together, because I had to look at StreamYard and it looked like it wasn't going to do what I wanted it to do, because we actually have like a 6-image feed on our live stream.
Mm.
And I had to figure out how to use OBS, which is open broadcasting software, which is free, open source, but it's you need to learn it all to be able to use it. And then there are strange things that happen sometimes, and it was I think it was actually Marianne once who was watching, and like the video feed kept changing size of the guest, or maybe of Shannon, and I was like, oh, what's going on? It keeps changing. And then Marianne was like, oh, it looks arty. That's great. And I was just thinking, oh no, this doesn't look as nice as I would like it to. But then having someone from the audience say, oh no, it's great, just keep going with it. And that thing about like starting with what you have, like my setup and your setup is now better than it was when we started. When I started, I
Definitely.
used my phone, and then I had a collaboration where I was invited to teach in a class, and like because of my activity on social media, I've been invited to teach. So before the YouTube monetization, and it was funny when I first got monetized, that it was like, your estimated income is 5 cents. There's our names. And I was like, oh, 5 cents. I'll be able to buy a sheet of paper. And it went up over the month, where it's like, oh, for the past month, I'm going to get €4. Which, if what you said about Think Media, that Sean Cannon, when he's first monetized, got like $2 or something. So
yeah,
I'm
you're
just like,
doing
oh,
better than Think Media, really.
yeah, but maybe with inflation, it's a bit different now. But yeah, so we put all this effort into creating things, and there are these, when it comes to the business side of things, there are other opportunities which arise, which are independent of monetization with AdSense. Because like I had a really cool live stream recently, and it was interesting to see, oh, 300 people watched this, and I'll get 30 cents. And it's like 300 views was like, that was a lot for me. That was a lot of views. I'm like, 30 cents, that's a couple sheets of paper, whatever it is. So it's really awesome to get monetized, but it's not like, oh, now I can just relax.
Yeah.
But because of all of the content creation I've been doing, people have become aware of my work. I'm like, oh, hey, would you like to teach in this class? I'm like, oh yeah, I'd love to. And then when I had that, I was like, I actually would like to do my own course. Would you be interested in hosting it? And like, oh yeah, we'd love to do that. And then because I did that, someone from another platform was like, hey, we saw the work you did with them. Would you like to do a course with us? And over the past 3 years, teaching online has become a really big part of my my work. And so that in all of my videos that I have on my channel, in the bottom, it will be like, you can do this class here and you can do this class here. And that's interesting, because rather than doing brand partnerships, I'm directing people to my own offerings, my own classes and stuff. And just through the act of creating something that you're passionate in and you're really into, people will see it and resonate with it, and it could lead to collaborations. And so that's really interesting to keep in mind, that the goal is not just to get paid for people watching ads on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, it's
It's
such an important point, and like, it's a massive achievement getting monetized, but every YouTuber that I have interviewed who is doing well and making money from YouTube, it is not like the YouTube AdSense is the smallest piece of the financial pie, and it's like there's so many different ways, like, affiliate marketing, sponsorships, like all sorts of there's all sorts of ways. I've just said this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do I say that a lot. Okay, good. And also, yes,
it's
smash the like
affirmative. It's
button.
affirmative.
Yeah, smash the like button, yeah, if you find those two bloody legends awesome.
I have
Brilliant.
I have something interesting to say on the business side of things, which I think is really really cool. I really so my weekly offering on Zoom is €5 or pay what you want, and I really want everyone to be able to be involved in it if they want to. Um, and I was talking about it, I think, with Shannon recently, and it's like an ecosystem uh, of possibilities to support me and my work, and the people who are benefiting from it, they um, I'm serving them. And when people come along and they draw with me in a live stream, they don't have to pay anything. And I don't mention it every time, but sometimes I do. I'm like, oh, if you would like some direct guided instruction and drawing, I have these classes available. Or I say, if you want to come draw with me every week, you can do that on Tuesday. And there are these like different I guess price points. Like people can smash that like button and they can support for free, or they can support with their watch hours and then with their attention, because that's already a big deal. We have such busy lives, and for someone to take the time out and watch something, that's already support. And then if people are like, oh, I'd like to come along and participate and learn and be active in this Zoom session, then they can come and pay €5 if they want to. Some people pay less, some people pay more, some people pay nothing, but everyone's equally invited to be there. And then it's like, if they've done that, maybe they'd be willing or interested in having a monthly tutorial, which I do on Patreon. And so then they commit to like a monthly €5 thing. And then if they really like that and want the big pack experience of doing a 16 video course with me, which then they're going to pay $80 for. If they've really enjoyed the stuff and enjoyed what I'm doing, then maybe they'll do that. And I've had people write to me, they're watching a live stream, this is so good, I've just started your class. And it's because of watching the YouTube videos that then they've gone, like, it directs people to all of those different things that I have available. And I also occasionally sell original art. But
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
actually, that's kind of like the smallest piece of the pie. I'd love to
Yeah.
sell everything I've ever done. So if you want anything, just let me know. But that hasn't been my focus. I have
Yeah.
all these different ways that people can interact and learn with what I'm offering. And I think that idea of having like people can find their own place within it. And yeah, and I think for me, that's a really cool way to do it. I know there are different opinions, like people say, oh, if it's free, then people don't value it. But I don't agree with that. And I think it's nice for people to be able to participate in whatever way they can and want to.
Well, like, it's interesting because a lot of very, very successful people say that you should give away your best stuff, like not being afraid to give away your best stuff. And like
Yeah,
even Sean Cannell and Think Media, like there's a reason they have free courses. There's
yeah,
a reason. And it's like it's a funnel system, and it's like and it means that people who can't afford it still can learn how it
yeah,
works, and like people still can. And but yet then there's also this way that people can, like, whether it's because they want to go deeper with you or they like you and they want to support you and your family. It's like
hmm,
it's so good to give people the opportunity to do that.
yeah.
Um, there's a question that I want to get to because it's a very fun and very simple one. Um, Dooney Life says, "Thank you for being here." By the way, she said that you've just been driving. Do you know this person, Dylan?
I'm not sure I do.
I'm not sure I do either. Either way,
Hi,
thank you
thanks
so
for
much for
joining
being
us.
here. Do you go by another name, Dooney Life? Either way, question: when doing live, can we have music on the background, or is that going to cause issues with copyright? That is such a good question. It can cause issues with copyright if you're using copy like music that is not free, but there's heaps of free music in the I no, not iMovie. In the what's it called?
YouTube
The
Creator
YouTube
Studio or something.
Studio. And then also if you're using something like StreamYard, which is what I'm using to host this with, and there is a link in the description to it if you want particular platform to with it. But they have in the background, like in the brand section, there is an option to add music, so we can do something like this. Can you hear that?
I can't.
Can the people
Can
who
the
are
people watching
watching
hear
hear
it?
this? Or is it just me that can hear it? That'd be funny
That
if
would be
it's
funny.
just me.
You could be like
This is the
grooving.
lo-fi option. So they have stuff that is, I guess, royalty-free music within StreamYard, so you know it's, like,
It's okay
totally
to
safe
use.
to use, which is awesome. But yeah, then there's also an option. So this is with StreamYard, and I'm sure all streaming platforms have their ways of doing things. But then, yeah, it gives you lots of different options. Like, if we wanted some dance pop, we could have some.
I think you might have some noise cancelling stuff in your settings, so it's only.
The audience
I,
have said that they can hear it.
oh, really? Well, then maybe
Um,
it's me,
do
because
you?
I could only hear it when you were talking. Um,
Ah, interesting.
yeah.
But yeah, there are options and ways that you can add it in, and it in where can people where can people try StreamYard, Claire? Wink, wink, nod, nod. In the link in the description of this video, you can try it there. Thanks for that. Oh, I don't want this to end, but I am so aware of how much Dylan has to do today and always. Um, I let's just do one quick question that came from Andy from Think Media, actually. If you could offer any artist a single piece of advice about growing their YouTube channel in general, what would it be?
Share what you love doing. I think that's got to be it, because then you won't feel drained by doing it. That can also be tricky because then you're like, I love this, and why is no one hitting the like button? But then you're doing it for the likes, not because you love it. And I think that's really important to keep in mind. And that has saved me, because I've had things where I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever done, and I shared it. And then I was like, why does no one like it? And I was like, oh, because the algorithm, which no one understands, just didn't show it to anyone. It doesn't devalue the experience I had making it. So if you love what you're doing, then it's not going to be it's going to be easier to do it.
Mm,
And so don't be chasing likes. Do it because you love it, and um, and and then it's win-win. And if people watch it and
mm.
they enjoy it too, then that's a bonus. I think that's probably got to be the most important thing, because otherwise, otherwise it can be pretty challenging.
Yeah. That's
Uh,
really, really wonderful advice. Dooney Life, were you asking the question about the paper art and being an artist? Because if so, we spoke about it for about half an hour. So make sure you go back and watch it. And thank you so much, Dylan, for being here. If you would like the people who are watching, if you want to check out what Dylan's doing, his channel is Dylan Sara, spelt the way it's spelt on the screen there. And it's also linked in the description. And
you can come
yeah,
draw with us if you like.
Instagram, Dylan Sara, go draw with Dylan. I'll be there. I'm there sometimes. It's awesome. And if you enjoyed this conversation, I have heaps like this, and I'm going to link the first chat that I did with Dylan, because it's very wholesome to go back and see, and so interesting to see how much you've changed as a creator, and
Yeah, it's interesting.
me as well, and how much our situations have upgraded, and
Hmm.
all that sort of stuff is so, yeah, it's so wholesome and beautiful. Thank you so much for being my first return guest. You're the
Thank
best
you.
big brother I've ever had.
Thank you for having me back. I don't think I'm your first return guest though, because Terence has been on a couple of times.
I mean,
And
since I returned from being away.
okay.
Yeah,
Either
yeah.
way, I love you. You're very welcome. Shannon,
Oh my
Shannon
gosh,
asked earlier
an
if I have
hour.
an editing day. I don't. Um, yeah, and so that was a no as an answer to that question. I'm not very scheduled. I don't have an editing day. No is the easy answer. But yeah, that was our 1 hour live stream. Thank you everyone for being here. If you're not already subscribed to Claire, well, now is the time to do so.
It's a great
Um,
opportunity for that right now.
yeah, Claire's helped me so much in building my YouTube channel and keeping me motivated. And I kind of, everything Claire learns, I get to learn vicariously through Claire. And she's really a great resource So join the YouTube creator community or whatever you call it. And
Yeah, there's a
because
Facebook group as well, which is a really nice place to connect,
yeah,
and ask questions. And yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome
yeah,
being connected with you all again, and it's so good. I'm so lucky to have such an awesome big brother. Oh, what a treat.
I'm so lucky to have you, awesome little sister,
Oh,
right
my
over there.
goodness.
Oh, hug, hug, hug.
Mum says that.
It's Claire's birthday tomorrow. That's right. Claire's birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday tomorrow,
Yeah,
Claire.
Claire, birthday girl. Gosh, this is an example of this isn't how you're supposed to end videos, by the way. We'll do a tutorial one day on how to end videos, but this isn't it. A
Yeah, and
long
Shannon's
outro.
and just to draw it out, Shannon said you can come draw with me today. It's Tuesday. Every Tuesday we draw on Zoom. So long
Oh,
outro, just add bits of information to the end. Happy birthday tomorrow, Claire. Come and join me today. Thank you everyone for being here.
what else have we got? I've got snacks that I didn't get to, which is good because
I didn't
it's
drink any of
cashews,
my
and that
water.
doesn't make sense. I did drink some of my okay. Gotta
Stay
go. Love you.
hydrated.
Bye.
Bye. We love you. See you. Bye.